Act 1, Scene 1. This is the opening scene of Merchant of Venice, where we find Antonio, the rich merchant of Venice, in a sad mood, and his friends Salerino and Salanio trying to find the solution to his sadness. The scene takes place in Venice in a street. So now we begin with the line by line explanation of the scene. Follow the book. Antonio. In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me. You say it wearies you. In truth, I do not know why I feel so sad. I am tired of it, and you say that it depresses you. But how I caught it, found it, or came by it, what stuff it's made of, whereof it is born, I am to learn. But how I acquired it, found it, or came by it, what it consists of, and how it originated, I am yet to find out. And such a wonted sadness makes of me that I have much ado to know myself. And this sadness makes me absent-minded, so much that I have trouble in recognizing myself. So here Antonio, he says that he is sad, but he himself is not aware of the reason of his sadness. Salerino's speech. Your mind is tossing on the ocean, there where your argosies with portly sail, like sinners and rich burghers on the flood. Your mind is on the sea, thinking about your merchandise, where where your argosies with portly sail, where your rich cargo ship with swelling sails are sailing, like sinners and rich burghers on the flood, like wealthy noblemen or merchants in the sea, or as it were the pageants of the sea. They looked like the grand spectators of the sea, do overpeer the petty traffickers, that courtesy to them do them reverence. And they seem to excel the smaller merchant ships who bow to them and show them respect as they fly by them with their woven wings, as they speed past them with their canvas sails. Salanio. Believe me, sir, had I such venture forth, I assure you, sir, if I had such business operations, the better part of my affections should be with my hopes abroad, the greater part of my mind, my thoughts, would always be fixed with my dealings across the sea. I should be still plucking the grass to know where sits the wind. I should always be plucking the grass, throwing it up in the air to see in which direction the wind blows. Peering in maps for ports and piers and road, I should always be looking into the map, looking for the ports, the harbors, and the channels, and every object that might make me fear misfortune to my venture, out of doubt would make me sad, and every object that might make me scared of my business ventures would no doubt would make me sad. Here, Selenio is suggesting different things that would be making Antonio sad. He says that if he was lucky enough to have business ventures as that of Antonio, then no doubt he would be scared of his ships sailing across the sea and would always be looking into the maps, looking for the harbors and water channels to assure himself that his ships were safe. Salarino. My wind cooling my broth would blow me to an orb. When I would blow on my soup to make it cool, the act would make me tremble as a person shivers with fever. When I thought what harm a great wind at sea might do, to think of the damage a strong wind at the sea might cause to my ships, I should not see the sandy hourglass run. I could not see the sandy hourglass run. A sandy hourglass is an apparatus with two spheres of glass joined together with a tiny hole between, through which sand ran from one sphere to the another in 1 hour. I should think of shallows and of flat. So I cannot see a sandy hourglass run without thinking of the shallows in the water and the quicksands, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand, and imagine my wealthy ship grounded in the sand. Andrew is referred to, it's a common name for big ship. Wheeling her high top lower than her ribs, and then her mast will be inclined down lower than the sides to kiss her burial, as if trying to kiss the sand. Should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight of dangerous rocks? Can I go to church and see the building built of snow without being reminded of the dangerous rocks in the sea, which touching but my gentle vessel's side would scatter all her spices on the stream, which even by chance, if touch the side of my gentle ships, would scatter all her wealthy possessions, spices, into the water. Enrobe the roaring waters with my silk, and throw out my rich silk to dress the roaring waves. And, in a word, but even now worth this, and now worth nothing. And just before a moment, the cargo, which was so valuable, will be worth nothing now. Shall I have a thought? Shall I think of all these? To think on this, and shall I lack the thought that such a thing bechanced would make me sad? If I can imagine all this could happen, shall I not also have the imagination to picture the grief which the occurrence of such a disaster would cause me? But tell not me. I know Antonio is sad to think upon his merchandise. But tell me, I know Antonio is sad because of the thought of his merchandise. So here Salarino says that if he had business operations like Antonio, he too would be sad, because anything that he sees around or he does would make him remind of the danger his ships in the sea might come across. When he would be cooling his soup with his breath, it would remind him of the strong wind in the sea, which might cause harm to his ship. When he would see a sandy hourglass run, it would remind him of the shallow water and quicksand to which his ships might get stuck. Next, when he sees the stone the church is made of, it would remind him of the rocks, dangerous rocks in the sea, which, if by chance touches the side of the vessel of his ship, would overturn them and scatter all the rich spices into the sea. So therefore he concludes that Antonio is sad only because of his merchandise. Antonio, believe me, no, I thank my fortune for it. Believe me, that is not the case. My venture are not in one bottom trusted, not to one place, nor is my whole state upon the fortune of this year. I thank my good fortune that my business enterprises are not all at rest at one single ship, not to one place, nor does my business venture depends on the present year. Therefore, my merchandise makes me not sad. So here Antonio assures and says that he is not scared about his ship sailing in the sea, because his fortune, his wealth is not dependent on one ship, not even on one place, and also not dependent on the profit that he makes in a particular year. So therefore he is not sad because of his ship. Salarino, why? Then you are in love? So you are sad then because you are in love? Antonio, 5-5, shame, shame. Antonio denies this. Salarino, not in love neither. What? You are not even in love? Then let us say you are sad because you are not married. Then let us say that you are sad because you have no reason for being happy. And it were as easy for you to laugh and leap and say you are merry because you are not sad. And therefore it would be easy for you to laugh and jump around and say that you are happy because you are not sad. Now, by two-headed Janus. Janus, he is a Roman god of those who had two faces, one frowning, the other smiling, one head looking inward and the other looking out. Janus is referred here to indicate that nature had created two different types of men with different outlooks. Now, by two-headed Janus, nature hath framed strange fellow in our time. So by two-headed Janus, nature has created very strange fellow in her time, some that will evermore peep through the eyes. There are some kind of people who seem to be peeping through their eyes and laugh like parrots at a bagpiper, and they seem to be as foolish as parrot laughing at bagpiper. When we laugh, our face gets wrinkled and our eyes become small. It seems as if we are peeping through our eyes. And other of such vinegar aspect. And there is another kind of a person who is of such sour nature that they will not show their teeth in a way of smile, that they won't even smile and show their teeth. Though Nestor swear the jest be laughable. Jest means joke. Nestor, he is an old and wise Greek general who fought in the Trojan War. and he was such a serious kind of a person that a joke had to be extremely funny if Nestor laughed at it. So there are some kind of people who do not laugh at jokes which are approved by Nestor. So here we have two kind of people who laughs at anything and the other who does not even laugh at a joke approved by Nestor. So with this we come to an end of explanation of part 1 of Act 1 Scene 1. You will find explanation of the rest of the scene in the next video that I upload. So we end here. Thank you.